In this lesson, we'll add another NPM library to our project, and it is called JSON Server. What JSON Server will allow us to do is to create a fake backend, a mock backend for our project. The reason we're going to do this is because setting up a real backend can be a lot of work. First up, we're going to need to choose a language, then a library or a framework, potentially set up a database, and all of that complexity. And of course, that would require a lot more teaching and a lot more knowledge. This is a course that is primarily focused on React, so I want to keep our focus on the front end. With that said, making a request to a backend to get some kind of data like JSON is a very common occurrence in the React ecosystem, so it's very important for me to teach it. So the question is, how can we set up a backend or something that is good enough to simulate a backend in the shortest amount of time? And that is by using this library. The way this library works is we add it as an NPM dependency, then we simply create a JSON file in our project, and in that JSON file, we specify our endpoints, in other words, the URLs that we want to simulate, and then for each URL, we can also specify the data that our backend should return. It can be an array, it can be an object, it can be a number, it can be anything that we specify in JSON. So this way, we don't have to worry about actually coding any backend logic. We just define a URL that returns some data for us. And in the real world, this can actually be the way that it works as a front-end developer. You may go to a backend developer on the job and say, hey, I need to fetch the employees so that I can render their cards on the front end. And the backend developer may tell you, well, use this URL, and you put it into your project. And you may have no knowledge about how the backend is built and what language it uses and what the database tables look like or anything like that. You just simply plug in the URL that you've been given, and you make a request, and you get the data, and then you utilize it. And this is the simplest way that we're going to be able to emulate that flow. So you'll see this process unfold over the course of the next couple lessons, but what I want to do now is install this library, and in the next lesson, we'll set up the actual data itself. So if you are running the project, make sure you shut down the React dev server by pressing Control-C. And then right here, I'm going to run npm install. This will be a dev dependency because it only exists for us as developers in development. So it's going to be --save--dev. And the library is called JSON-server, all lowercase with a dash between those two words. So press that. Should be a quick installation process. And then we will have this set up in our project. All right, so in the very next lesson, I'll show you how to create the sample data file, as well as how to add a new NPM script that will run this backend and thus allow our React app to make requests to it. So I will see you in the next lesson.